all right now.
Oh, that's cricket.
Like an animal or something wanted to join in with the
I
noise.
thought I was partying for a second.
I was gonna say she partied. She had a rave. She's giving me a rave.
No. Hello, HMB fam. Hello, ladies and gen. How are you all tonight?
Good.
We're great. And look at us once again. All of us are fabulous. Fabuloso. No, not fabuloso. But we are looking wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we have our special guest co-host tonight, Mr. Shahid William, known as Shafan. And Mr. Shafan, what are you tonight, honey? We're going to start off with you.
I am a sexy angel.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Honey, descended straight from heaven.
All right. We can see him on the runway right now.
Yes.
Walking down, claiming and owning that runway. And I'm your girl, Coach Shalonda. Of course, we have your girl, Miss Serious K. How are you?
Hello, everyone.
I'm talking about that Serious K, honey. She was, shh. How you doing? And we have your girl, Queen A. How are you tonight?
I am good. It is Saturday. I am happy. I have I'm having fun tonight. So yes.
Yes. We are so excited to be with the HMB fam tonight. And we're especially excited to have our special guest co-host, Mr. Shafan. He always puts some spice to the show. So welcome. And we're gonna well, first, before we get off into the show, I just want to mention that please be sure to like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube page. Also, join our Patreon. We do have our information listed on our pages, on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, on our Instagram page. Just look for it. It's on there. It'll also be in the comments too for you to join our Patreon. We're going to have some exciting things to share as well as giveaway. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, and join our Patreon that's coming up soon, and we're going to have some fabulous guests. One, as you can see right now, Mr. Shafine. And when I tell you it would be raw and uncensored and unfiltered and naked, and what are some other words? Naked combo. Naked bodies. But it'll be some really, really good conversation. Things that people want to talk about, addressing the elephants in the room, and just having some really good conversation to heal the heart, renew the mind, all through the power of nakedness. But anyway. Hey, that's true though. Not pun. So let's move on. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. But before we get started, did everybody have a good week? Was all good?
Yes.
It's
Great
been
week.
a full week. I'm gonna say it's been a good week, but it's been a very full, busy week.
It has been a busy week. And then the timing of everything. Should we talk about what current environment we're in, or should we just let that be? Should we talk about the big R? I know.
Talk about it.
Well, many may know about Mercury retrograde. Some people don't have a clue. And believe me, you want to keep it that way. But I tell you, it has been some, if your technology has been acting up, speaking of technology, what happened this week? Do anybody know? A huge, major technology blow.
Facebook, y'all. Facebook.
Instagram. Was it Instagram?
It was both. Yeah. Facebook and Instagram.
Just went crazy. And, you know, that's all a part of Mercury retrograde when, of course, you know, they have their thing of what happened. But, yeah, anytime during Mercury retrograde, you cannot say, oh, that doesn't exist. It's just Google it.
But you know what? People may not always know it. You know, people may not be aware, but people may not even believe it until they start following the dates and they start seeing the signs and they become aware to it. I remember when I first didn't know about it, and I was like, you know, whatever. And then when I learned about it, I'm like, damn it, I wish I'd never known about it. But because now you start realizing, now you're aware, so you realize miscommunication, like, you know, like you start getting irritated possibly about, you know, you just say, relationship or you conversation with somebody, start getting irritated really quickly, or it's miscommunication. You think you heard one thing and that's not what the person said. So you're just not on the same page when it comes to communication. But then also, again, it affects more so because Mercury represents travel, communication, contracts. So any of those things could be affected during this time.
Yeah. So you've been having some issues. Whew, just hang on tight. We're halfway through it.
Yeah.
We are halfway through it. Just don't do nothing new. But
Thank God it ends on is the 17th, Shalonda?
Mhm.
The 17th. Yeah, so I'm ready for it to end because I'm like, it's Lord.
Major things are getting adjusted, readjusted, rescheduled a lot. So we always try to encourage you, don't sign anything, don't start something new. Just, if you can't push it, push it. If you can, you got to do what you got to do.
Now, may I ask a
Go
question?
through the kinks.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Is
Go
the
ahead.
Mercury retrograde, is it in regards to a specific zodiac sign, or is it just in general?
Shaka, you and I are both affected because Mercury represents Gemini and Virgo.
Oh, okay.
So we feel effects every single time, but I believe right now is in Libra. So partnerships may be affected, like relationships, partnership, when it comes to justice. By the way, y'all, people may be feeling like justice may be coming back.
It's interesting you said that. The topic we had, offline 2 days ago, the person is a Libra.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
done. Are you serious?
Yes.
And it's interesting how the person reacted. So
Yes.
wow, well, we gotta talk about that. This is why we need Patreon. Now. This is why y'all need to join Patreon. We can understand what we talk about and hear all the stuff that's taking place, all the good things, the drama, all of that. Yes. Hi, Mama Scott. Love
Hi,
you
Mom.
too.
Love you.
Hi, Miss Louise.
Okay, my
Love you
mom
back.
listens now and then just to see what we're doing. So let's move on. We have a huge announcement for one of our very special co-hosts. This is a huge announcement, okay? A huge major accomplishment. Miss Sirius K, a huge big congratulations. She has completed her bachelor's of applied behavior.
Yes.
Okay, there it is. A bachelor's in applied behavioral science. I
Yes.
was waiting for it to produce. I was like, pull it on up, pull it on.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you, everyone.
Now
Yeah,
tell
so
us
I left work, and went, and my husband, we celebrated had a little mini celebration. So we went out to eat and everything, went to dinner, and I was rushing and I couldn't find my Wonder Woman headpiece. So I am the African Wonder Woman. So I got the great, okay?
I was trying to figure out. I said, okay.
Because y'all know our Black women, we can do some amazing things.
Yes,
And I Wonder Woman myself right on into the show.
Yes,
So-
she
So,
did.
yes, so,
Hello. I thought you were a hippie at first.
Oh,
I know, wait. I
Because of
should have
the-
did the hippie. If I'd have thought about
You know
it, I
what?
could have wore tie-dye.
Oh God.
Uh-huh.
I thought she was an Indian when I saw the braid, and then when I saw when she stood up a little bit, I said, "Oh, she's Wonder Woman."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so but yeah, I'm excited. So my virtual graduation is tomorrow and everything. And so I'm excited about it. But your work is never done.
Yeah.
I still got one more goal to accomplish before my big goal, before I start reinventing myself. I will no longer be Kim the hairstylist. I will be Kim the therapist, counselor.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, you guys.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Because that's a lot of hard work. Ooh.
Oh Lord.
The thing is trying to find the time. Trying
Yes.
to find time out of your day. And it's just, you just have to sacrifice. You just have to say,
Yeah.
oh, well, I guess I won't sleep
Yeah.
today. I guess I won't eat.
When I tell you, I just want to say, I thank God for my clients, for my husband. I thank God for them being patient, because when I tell you, I have this laptop at the salon, and when they under the dryer, I get it and I'm just doing this, and I'm like, hold on, give me 5 minutes. I'm about to get you from under the dryer, I promise.
Wow. That's
I'm doing it all. I get home. I'm like, honey, I got an hour. We can watch this show, but I got to do some homework, and I'm just. So yeah, I thank God for their patience. Yeah. It's a blessing to have, people that support you and that are patient with you.
Yes.
Well, that is so good. We got some HMB fam. We got some accomplished folks on this here. This here StreamYard. Some very accomplished people. I mean, we have owner of Exotic Poetry Lounge. I got to give that a shout out every single time.
Yes.
It is an experience that you want to experience. Exotic Poetry Lounge in
Queens.
Where is it?
Woodhaven, Queens.
Okay. In Queens, y'all. Because I was gonna say Brooklyn. I still think Kaneen is from. Well, I say you from Brooklyn.
You said New Rochelle, Brooklyn.
You have Brooklyn voice.
She's like, girl, I did not tell you I was from. Where you from? So it is good, and it's good to go visit New York. Anyway. Yes. But then when you got somewhere to go, and and Shaw Fine is the one that knows how to put on a show. Okay.
Yes. Very entertaining. It would entertain you.
Yes.
So I know HMB fam, you guys are seeing our costume tonight. I know we're probably all over the place right now, and some of y'all are probably wondering what the cat face doing on top of her head. Well, y'all know I can't see. What is the cat face? Y'all know I can't see. So look, I love cats. And then, of course, this is a cheetah. And when I thought about it, I didn't think about it until I got the mask. I'm like, oh, hell, I wear glasses. How am I going to but our producer did say, you can put the mask over the glasses. I'm like, it wasn't going to work for me because I still can't see. So, instead of it being a catastrophe, live. I just decided to wear it as a headband. And then we have our lovely Queen A. I don't know if she's a princess, a fairy godmother.
I can be whatever you desire me to be. But I'm a fairy godmother, so I grant wishes. So whatever you desire, I'm granting you the wish.
Okay.
Because millions of dollars, I wish.
That part.
And we have our Shafan as a sexy angel.
Angel, yes. I started to come shirtless, and I said, that might be a little bit too much. I said, let me find me a cute vest to put on.
We would have got some hits on the show. We would have been the number one rated show tonight, y'all.
Right. Y'all see that?
So let me start showing some cleavage. Like, wait.
Yo, that's for Patreon. That's why y'all should join Patreon, because we're gonna be showing some things. Look at that.
She getting ready. She getting ready for her outfit. She like.
Look, y'all undoing and I'm doing.
I don't know what they're drinking, but and then we have our Series K as Miss Wonder Woman and Miss Graduate 2021. Yes. So congratulations again. Like we said, we're having some fun tonight. So we're going to go ahead and jump off into our show. And we want to start off talking about I'm sure many of you have heard about the Robin Thicke story. The young lady, Emily, I cannot pronounce her last name, Rada Kowski, whatever her last name is, accuses Robin
Rapaskinsky.
Yeah, that's it. Accuses Robin Thicke of groping her boobies. Now, as you can see the picture, do y'all see her boobies? I'm still looking for them. Okay, but anyway, he groped her boobies, and she's putting out her memoir, and that was a part of her experience. You know what memoirs are? They're all about your life and I guess some interesting experiences that went on throughout your life. And so she decided to go ahead and mention this. Now, I don't know if there's any lawsuits or anything legally going on there, but she did mention it in one of the articles I read. I didn't hear anything about lawsuits or anything like that. It was just a part of her memoirs, a part of her life experience. So, y'all tell me, what do you think about Robin Thicke groping or Teddy? I'm still looking for it. Tell me, what do y'all think about that? Serious Kate, what are your thoughts on that?
So when did he do this? I can't remember.
2013.
A long time ago. Oh.
2013, yeah.
I believe that, again, I mean, I don't know, I believe we think real hard. We can probably think of a time that we were groped, and a lot of people that we could probably bring, I mean, I don't know. It's just a timeline. I mean, and I understand some people, they don't want to, talk about things or bring it out right then. They're trying to wait until the time is right or whatever. But my thing is, when he did it at that time, how did she address it? Did she tell him, hey, that's not cool, I don't like that? What did she do? What did she say then? And so why now? She wasn't, because we talked about in the last show. Okay, so is groping equivalent to being raped?
Right.
So she wasn't raped. So why be silent on a grope? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's to me, in my opinion, it's not as serious as being raped. Now, I'm just saying in my opinion. So why not bring something like that to the forefront back then? Why wait so long? Right. Like I say, we can think of a time when we've been in the club back in the day. Y'all know how the guys used to do. You trying to get past them, excuse me, and they kind of stick their torso out like, you're like, hold on, did you just sneak a feel? Did you just push up on me? So what I'm saying is, girl, is it that serious? We should have said something way back then. That's all I'm saying. Because I mean, I done slapped somebody before, knocked somebody's drink out of their hand. Boy, who you think you messing with? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, what did you do back then? It was okay then, but then now, I don't know. You hard up for money. What is it?
Serious cat up.
Well, she's writing a memoir, right? She's writing a book, so she got to be extra with it. I'm gonna write my memoir. I'm trying to figure out who can I say grope me.
Can you add in? Yeah,
because I know I done went to some parties and I've been a few places and I got groped quite a few times. So I'm like, wait, let me think. Who can I get paid? I'm just joking.
Is she saying women? Is she saying
right?
But I remember those days in the clubs though. But I did, Kim, when they put their torso out and kind of be whining. I'll look back and see how they look, and I'd be like, eh.
It's like depending on who it is and what they look like.
But she felt humiliated. I think she said she felt humiliated, right? Humiliated, yeah. So she said that she felt like she kind of looked back, looked down. She looked at him, but she definitely felt, humility. I don't know why I can't speak tonight, but she did feel a way behind the whole thing. So so she felt like she didn't really say anything or address it. So I was like, you didn't address it. Why now? Why bring that up? Why put that in your book? So I feel like it's just a point of, it's like public relations, like, trying to get more advertisement for the book. So you got to find some way to get advertisement. And that was her advertisement to me.
Yeah, exactly. Shafan, what are your thoughts on this?
I do agree with Queen A in regards to she's only mentioning it because she's putting out this book and she wants to sell, obviously. And I do believe I watched a video on the situation, and I do believe an executive did ask her, was she okay? So I think she was a little uncomfortable. My question is, was it like behind the scenes, or was it during the music video shoot? Because maybe he just got caught up in a moment. I mean, in my opinion, Robin Thicke don't seem like that type of guy. He sounds a pretty respectful person. And he did apologize, but she mentioned that. words is powerful. For you to for her to say he groped her, like my thing is, was it intentional? You know, was he being perverted? You know, so you definitely have to watch your verbiage in regards to that. You know, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like the Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson thing.
Right,
You know?
right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, our producer, she put in our chat. She said, in her book, she said, "I remember the moment that he grabbed my grabbed my breast, one in each hand." She
Oh my
recalled
God.
he was standing behind her as they both were in. He was standing behind her as they were both in profile. I screamed in my very aggressive Brooklyn voice, "What the F?" I don't want to curse. "What the F are you doing? That's it. The shoot is over." I should put in my more New York voice, right?
And that was during the shoot, right?
Yeah.
Like during the music shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
Now also it is reported that Robin Thicke have allegations of drugs and alcohol abuse.
Right.
So yeah, so that maybe he was in the moment, maybe he
Yeah,
did.
it's a very sensual song. What was the
Right.
name of the song again? If you
Blurred lines. Blurred lines. You remember
Yeah.
that? Jim,
Yeah.
Jim, Jim,
Just
Jim.
the words. Yeah. You know, you want it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and music have a way of doing things to people. So if he was maybe on under the influence, and he was doing something, he was under the influence, he listened to that music. Hey, he like, let me just try to feel a little grope, like we just
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
And she said he returned to the set drunk. So,
oh yeah, see, yeah, yeah.
okay, all right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
when someone is drunk and the music is going, that just puts them in the mood even more, when they're already, intoxicated, and then
mhm.
that song was sexy, and then she came out with her two little peaches, and so hey, he was like, let me grab
Yeah.
this
I
bitch.
must say, can I add? So sometimes people in general, like people tend to unintentionally invite people onto them. So maybe
Yeah,
she was giving that energy, like, okay, this is, I'm for it,
yeah,
and then he's thrown off guard because he's rubbing her up. They're doing a music video. He's in a moment, and she freaks out, and he's like, wait a minute, what's going on?
yeah, yeah. And
But
the
that's
thing,
very
go ahead, Queen.
that's very interesting that Sha Fine brought that up, because I remember mentioning I had won a date last week, and now I know on the show I may joke and talk about sex and all of that, but I don't do that when I go out on my dates, right? So I don't want them to view me in a certain light or a certain way. But I noticed that like when I go out on dates, and I'm like, do I have sex on my forehead? Because it's like the conversation seemed to go that way, or it seemed to take a turn. Like last week when I was on a date, we were having a nice brunch, enjoying talking. All of a sudden, I started noticing his eyes go a certain way, and I'm like, what's wrong with your eyes? And he started to look at me in a sexual way, and I'm like, and I was like, do I have like sex on my forehead? Like, do I see? So because sometimes, right, a person can give off that aura. I don't know. I don't think I do. I don't know, but maybe I give off that aura. But I noticed that on my dates is typically where they view me as sexual, or again, I'm not even saying anything sexual, or they may want to hug or touch in some way. So yeah, sometimes you don't even do anything, or sometimes you may not even be aware that you're doing it. Sometimes I remember this guy told me, one of my friends, he was like, you're very flirtatious and charming, and I'm not even aware of it. So sometimes you're not even aware. That's just your nature and your character. But still, respect the person. But he was
Yes.
drinking, so.
But you know what, Queen A? I think that's just the way that these people are dating now, because I thank God that I'm married now, because before I married my husband, just dating, just like you say, they bring it up and they want to send you pictures, and they want you like, what is going on here? Like, you only been talking one day.
That's the
Right.
way
And they
people was
talk
dating.
about it. And I don't know if it's the type of women that they talk to. That's
Yeah.
what they're doing. They put it out there that they want to, go ahead and have sex or whatever. I don't know, but it was weird. I'm like, hold on. We
Mhm.
hadn't even talked about that. And you want to, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fine brought up something we were talking about. Like we talked about, this was last week, we talked about rape and molestation and stuff like that. So sometimes these things, this is how it starts. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, you're right.
definitely.
It's how it starts. Yeah. And it doesn't, we're not saying that it's right that Robin Thicke did. It was okay. No, it was absolutely not okay. That was her body. She has a right to allow whomever she wants to touch her body, but it does not give you the right, whether you're drunk or not. Although we know that if if the person is drunk, and we all know that music puts you, and certain types of music put you in a certain type of mood. We all know that. And you don't need to get, we don't need to give you examples because you already know, the type of music that will put you in a romantic mood, a happy mood, angry mood. It puts you in all the different types of moods. So, and they made a song for every feeling, every mood that you can think of. So it doesn't give him the right, although due to the circumstances and under that situation, it happened. She has a right to voice what happened because that was her body. So she said he apologized. So I don't know if the apology was enough for her. I feel like she was just mentioning it in her book because she has a book coming out. So she wants to share with us some of her, experience with some of these celebrities in the world, so you can read a book and
Sex sells.
That's why I keep mentioning it, y'all. Nikki Green said, "It's not you; it's the agenda from the start." That's a good point. Very valid point. Yes,
absolutely. So, we wish her much success on her book. I'm sure all of us have contributed to that. Go ahead, Shafan.
I was gonna ask her, will you be buying the book? No.
They're like quiet, like we're all looking like what?
What about Gabrielle Union book? I know she talked about having F boys in her book. See, sex sell. Look, she talked about F boys. So
yeah, sex sell. So
would you buy her book?
Sex,
I'll buy her.
New York Times bestseller. But and a lot of people they have to use. Sometimes, it's like the experience, like I'm trying to see how would that experience, because she's not saying it in a way that she's trying to get validation or trying to get someone to be on her side or, trying to get justice, but she's just sharing her experience. Like, how can that, I guess that can help someone by
I'm so crooked, y'all. Sorry. I had a little wine.
So put on the music, Shafan. Blurred line. But I'm just wondering that information she shared about Robin Thicke roping her. I know that was part of her experience. Like, but how would it help someone? I do wonder that. Like, well, how is it going to help someone? Like, what were you trying to? I guess we have to get the book, huh? Yeah. Okay, so let's move on, y'all. So our next topic, we want to talk about matters of the heart. So we want to talk about, so this is a very good topic. So everyone brace yourselves. HMV fam, brace yourself because we're going to get into some nitty gritty here. It's been 2 to 5 years and the type of man or woman that you desire does not want you or they don't exist. So what are you going to do? 2 to 5 years. The type of man or woman that you want do not exist. So what are you going to do? They don't want you or they don't exist. So are you going to stay single another 2 to 5 years and hope your version of perfection comes along, or simply find or settle for someone that wants you? So the gist of it all, 2 to 5 years you've been single. So you've been waiting for this Mr. Perfect. You do find someone that fit the statue. However, he don't want you though. He don't want you. And then you've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. You just can't seem to find that person. I should have said or. Should you stay single for another 2 to 5 years and just hope that picture perfect person would just come along? Or would you just simply settle for whatever comes along and they're halfway there? So I'm going to let y'all tell me about this. Come on, Shafan, tell me what you think.
So number one, I don't believe in waiting, period. Number one, the person that may be for you may come in disguise. You know what I'm saying? Like, they may appear to not be the person you're looking for, and you give them an opportunity. You find out that this person has my back 100%, you know, and they have a lot of qualities that I was blinded to see because they wasn't precisely the look I was going for. I believe that everybody has to settle at some point. Like nobody's perfect. You're not gonna find a person that's 100% what you're looking for. I think we all have to settle at some point. You just have to decide what's worth settling for. And what's, you know, you have to weigh your pros and cons in every situation, because you're gonna grow old and die very hard, but you're gonna grow old alone. Yeah. You know, I have a friend who's just like, oh, I'm gonna be single. I'm not ready. And you're Asian. Before you know it, you're gonna be in your 60s and still single. You know, I just, you know, I'm very all for date. You know, one don't work out, date the next person. That don't work out, date the next person. You're not a whore. You don't gotta sleep with everybody. You know, you find your mate through trial and trial and tribulation, trial and error. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what do you think, Serious K, on this topic?
Let's say, you know what, there's nobody out there that's perfect, but if somebody don't want you, like the saying goes, I know it's cliche, don't let a man tell you twice that he don't want you.
Exactly.
If this person does not want you, move on, because then, you know, apparently they're not the person that's for you. They're not the person that God has in store for you. So I say, if you got somebody there beside you that loves you, that at least is giving you 70, 60%, 80%, whatever of what you need, I say, I won't even say settle, because you're not settling. I mean, you love this person, they love you. I think that you should do away with that person, stop waiting, because and also you got to consider age too. I'm just saying, like, we're getting closer to 50, not you, Shy Fine. You still shy fine. So we're getting closer to 50. So how long you gonna wait, sis? You gonna wait till you 60? You know, and I know women that have done that. They've waited on particular men. I mean, they watch these men be with different women, and oh, but girl, he loves me. Yeah, I know he's over there, but he loves me. And he gonna realize one day he gonna wake up and he's gonna come to me. And no, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Move on. Obviously, this person does not want you. They're not the one for you. You don't just wait for somebody that don't want you. You just don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Queen A, come on, honey.
So, you know, for one, you definitely you have to really pay attention to, you know, it's heart over mind, right? Because your heart may want what you want, but you know, sometimes you got to identify, like someone you've been dating or in a marriage with, or relationship with, whatever. If you've been with that person, you got to identify, is it an attachment or is it a connection? Because it's different with an attachment. When you're attached to someone, it's not healthy. You know, it's like,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like the relationship is just a codependent relationship. So then it's hard, you know, it's harder to detach from toxicity.
Yeah.
It's harder to detach from someone who's not healthy, you know, for you. So, and one thing I realized, God don't give you what you want, he give you what you need. So, you know, we can be in a relationship with someone or dating someone. We want that person, but guess what? It's not what we need. So, and then you got to, again, identify the nature of that relationship and learn when it's time to detach from it. Learn when it's time to let go of it. Again, we draw into toxicity, we draw into what's not healthy, and we keep going back to that because it fuels the pain. Like, you know, it just is a temporary situation, a temporary thing. But I talked to someone recently, and one thing he said to me, I was talking to this person on the phone for about maybe a year, and one thing he said to me was, you know, I didn't want a relationship with you. Okay, you know, like I got that, and it was time to cut the ties, cut loose. Now it was hard, yes, because it was an attachment there. I thought it was a connection, but it was more of an attachment. But sometimes I want to say this: God will put people in your life because we are all on assignment. Sometimes He will put a person in your life just for you to learn the lesson, and sometimes He put you sometimes He put a person in your life, or you in another person's life, so you can be their karma. It's messed up because you got to also feel the pain of it, but
Yes,
sometimes. But sometimes it's for them to become aware and see something that they've been doing to, other people or whatever. So it's just interesting. And it's very important. If you're healthy and you start to be aware of certain things, you start noticing like this is someone I need to disconnect from. This is
I
someone
do have a question for you.
uh-huh.
What do you mean by attachment?
So
I know
like
what you mean, but I just kind of want you to break it down.
okay. All right. So okay. So is when you codependent. Like in other words, like the person is not healthy for you, they're not good for you, but you're attached to either emotional attachment, like you feed off, like you have great conversation, they make you feel good in certain ways.
Make you laugh.
Yeah. Also it may be a sexual attachment, like they
Also, yeah,
Good
soul
sex.
ties.
yeah,
That's why we're
yeah,
not supposed to be, essentially we're not supposed to be having sex if we're not
yes,
married,
that's
because
right.
our souls are tied to that person and whoever else they slept with and that person that they slept with before that. And we don't realize that we develop soul ties. And that's
Yeah,
why we can't let those people go.
yeah,
yeah.
So sometimes that's what that attachment is.
yeah,
And you're right, Serious K, because when you even though it's hard to disconnect from someone, when you feel like your heart is in it, right? But it's like when you know that it's time, like it's not healthy and you need to detach from it. You able to walk away because you yourself is healed. You yourself know, like, I deserve better. This is
yeah,
not for me, and that's when you start to make logical sense of certain things. You start to rationalize with, wait, this relationship, the connection, this attachment, whatever, it doesn't make sense. Like it's hurting me more than me moving on and going through the pain, going through the hurt, healing from the hurt.
right.
So sometimes we like to stay in that, and although it's painful, you want to fuel the pain. You want to stay connected to something that's not working for you. So that's when you start to make the mind over heart decision. Like, look, my mind saying get the hell out of here. It's red flags. But my
Right.
heart, like, no, I want this. But that's when you have to learn. Like, it's not healthy. The longer you stay in it, the more damage it becomes to you and your heart, your mind, your spirit. So
So, what do y'all say about women? Because it's mostly women in particular. Men have this saying, most men, not all, but most men have this saying, just get another woman to replace, the one that you just left, just to not have to deal with the pain. And so they take that past with them into the next relationship. And most of the time that doesn't work, There are times where it works, but most of the time it does not. So, what would y'all say to the women, though, in general? Because it's more so on the women's side that sit and they wait and they wait and they wait and they wait. Do you think? That, I guess the quote is true, is that they're waiting because they're looking for that perfect someone, or um, I mean, it seemed like it's more so in those mid ages. Sirius K mentioned it about our age, and it is more so. I see it because the younger ones, they don't really know nothing. But I mean, they don't really know the hardcore, and they, the couples that are together, they either go through it or they just get the next person. But the mid ages, we ain't about all that going through and the heartache and the pain and the struggling and the immaturity and everything that comes along with it that's negative. So, what do you think about those women that are constantly waiting and waiting and waiting, and the ones that are settling? I mean, you say, well, you're not really settling, but they're like, okay, well, he may not be this, but then he's this, but then he's that, but then even that don't work out. So what do y'all say about that? Or to those women that are waiting and waiting, and it just seemed like Mr. Right never comes along. And they may not want the perfect guy, but who they do want or what they would accept, it's just not coming along. So what would y'all say? Queen A, what would be your advice?
What are you?
What would be your
you know how I am. I don't
relationship coach, y'all. She really is.
It's interesting what we grow into, because I don't understand how people seem to call me all the time about relationship advice. I don't get it, but
Like,
maybe because I see different angles. I'm not one sided. I see different angles, but maybe that's another gift. I don't know, but but one thing I would say, I forgot the question.
Oh,
what would you say about those women that's waiting? Ain't nobody coming.
So yeah, I feel like I'm that person. Like, I've been dating, but I'm a bit picky, and not say I'm real picky, but I know the type of woman that I am. I know what I offer, and because of that, like, I won't settle. Like, I've been in relationships where it was red flags and so forth. But again, it's like it hurts you more to stay in it. So I would say this: while you're taking the time, and you're don't wait. First of all, do not ever wait. Especially if you see the way the person is moving. Like, say for instance, where you may say, for instance, you're in a relationship and you both separate. Um, they're not gonna say, okay, maybe work on it if he's doing, like, maybe he's healing, he's not seeing nobody else, and then you're healing, you're not seeing nobody else. They're not gonna say, yeah, you kind of wait on it, right? But you work on yourself. But if you are seeing this person moving on, what the hell are you waiting for? So it hurts. When I tell you it hurts, because I know it hurts like hell.
Yeah.
And but that's when you start to heal on your own. That's when you got to start doing things for you, like get into school, like start personal development. That's that when you are away from someone and you healing, that's when God, like, hey, it's now time for you to personally develop yourself. Get into, like, maybe if prayer, spirituality thing. Build up your spirituality, because that's the number one thing that's going to help you. Build up your personal life. Maybe go back to school. Maybe open your business, or whatever it is that's going to help you heal. But I'm gonna say this though, this is interesting, because one thing is, like, when you're going through your healing, right? You go through your healing individually, but it's another thing when you come together in union with a person, and now you have to heal with a person. So that's two different types of healing. So I want to say, when you in a relationship, when you start doing the work and you heal, and then you get involved with somebody else, again, that's another type of healing. You got to watch for, like, the triggers or red flags, because sometimes you may think it's red flags when it's just really triggers that's going on in you, because God, like, hey, you thought you healed, but now you got to do the work. Now you got to do the work with the person. So now you put to the test. So sometimes that red flag is not even a red flag. We think, like, we may, like I was dating someone, and it was something that was irritating me about the person, and I thought it was a red flag. It wasn't a red flag. It was a trigger for me, because, like, I needed to do that work in that area.
Yeah.
So
that's
sometimes
interesting.
so sometimes you need to identify when it's a trigger or when it's a red flag. Like, for instance, I knew someone, this guy, and it's like, when, like, he had jumped from one relationship to the next, right? Keep, like, every time when someone brings something, some woman brings something to his awareness, he would try to blame it on the woman, but it was a trigger for him, because he didn't want to deal with himself. So then he'll run to another person, run to another relationship, run to another woman. And then he kept being triggered by it. So to him, it came across as red flags. Like, this woman got issues. I'm like, everybody got issues. Like, who got issues? So, so it's like, that's when we have to identify, like, okay, is it really a red flag? Is this person really, like, not for me? Or is it just because I'm being triggered and I need to heal?
Yeah.
So that's what you got to ask yourself, those questions, and do the work. People don't want to do the work. Let me tell you, yo, I've been out in the dating scene. When I tell you, I be ready to curse people out because I'm so frustrated behind dealing with people who are in their 50s and they're just so immature. Like, do the work, work. And if you don't want a person, leave it. Move on. Don't and drag a person along. That's when attachment comes. The codependency, when you're dragging a person along, but you don't want the person. So you just so you just developing is maybe an emotional attachment, maybe a sexual, maybe money, financially, whatever, that you're attached to something that the person is offering you, rather than you're attached to the person.
And then another thing,
and I wanted to say, sometimes No, I was just gonna say sometimes those insecurities keep those women attached, because I think that first you should learn your worth. Once you learn who you are and know your worth, then you know that, hey, I'm worth more than this person can give me, because you think that that person is the best for you, and this is the best it's gonna get from me, so I'm just gonna wait on this person. So once you learn your worth and who you are, then you're able to move on. And then let me tell you something. It's my cutoff game is strong. When I set in my mind that I'm done with you, I'm done with you. So you block numbers, block the Facebook, block the Instagram, delete the pictures.
Oh,
You
the
have to
picture too.
remove this person totally. You have to remove them totally out of your life, because how you gonna heal? Don't keep going back checking the Facebook. Don't keep going back checking the ex-girlfriend Facebook. Don't do that. Don't send a text message, happy birthday. Next year. Don't do any of
Not
that.
next year.
You have to, you have to be strong. And that's how you gain strength. Once you learn your worth, you gain strength in learning and knowing who you are. And sometimes we have to relearn who we are. We have to remind ourselves who we are. I'm a queen.
Yes.
I'm number one. He ain't this. I can offer this. I have this, and he's not worthy of this. He's not worthy of my time. He's not worthy of anything that I have to give. So once you learn your worth, then you understand, and you're able to move on, and you can heal.
Hey, wait. I know I'm gonna let throw the water. Serious Kate, she said she was fighting with that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
But you know what?
You gotta tell me twice.
I love what she said when you have insecurities, because when a person has been attached to pain for so long, that's all they know. So it's hard for them to identify and see something better coming along. So they stay attached to that, because they like, I can't even imagine a healthy relationship, or someone coming into my life who's going to treat me good, someone who's going to love me as well as I love them, and we in a healthy relationship, because we've been attached to pain for so long. We hadn't healed like either childhood wounds or maybe from a previous relationship or whatever. So we stay attached to people can be attached to pain.
And they normalize it too.
Like,
that's the worst part.
What'd you say?
I said they normalize it.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's a lot of people where it's like, I remember getting to discussions with women, and it's like they would sit up there and be frustrated and argue with me about, oh, well, this is my love, and he's treating her like crap. And I'm not just saying it's just all men, it's women too. Trust me, it is definitely women too that's out there doing dirt. But it's like some people just want to stay attached to that and stay, because that's all they know. That's what they used to. So it's hard for them to imagine a life outside of the pain and something that can be good, because they got to do the work, because they insecure, as Series K said, or they don't know their worth. So when you know your worth, when it's time to, move on. Now I'm gonna say this though, because sometimes God put people in your life. I'm gonna say, because look, I have people in my life that bless me in certain ways, right? It doesn't mean it's for a relationship, but sometimes God will put people in your life to bless you in some way, right? So think about that. Sometimes people come in your life, and you got to identify what's this person's purpose in your life. It's not sex, it's not this, but they could be in your life to just bless you in some way. Like I had somebody they couldn't stand me, but they kept giving, they kept doing things like, hey, so because sometimes a person again come into your life to teach you a lesson. What's that saying? A person's for a lesson, a lifetime,
for a reason, season, or
something. Exactly. So you got to identify, and then one thing I'm realizing, because now I'm 45, when people come into my life, I start looking at their value, right? Because I'm coming in with some value. I'm offering value to you. So for you, when I start identifying, looking at, let me see where this person can, and I'm not talking about financially, well, that too, but not just all financially, but I look at how a person is going to add value to my life. And one thing I want to say is, when I talked to someone recently the other day, I was left feeling the call like disappointed and hurt. So you got to look at how, so say for instance, you can be with a person, either friendship, relationship, whatever. You can feel happy in that moment, but you got to identify, how do you feel after the person leaves? Like after you end the conversation with the person, after you, like, maybe y'all went out someplace, like what feeling was you left with? And when you can identify that, you can kind of see, well, this person is not for me. Like, I feel off. Like every time I talk to this person, every time I hang out with this person, I feel hurt, I feel disappointed, I feel angry. So you got to look at how you leave from a person, from their environment. Right.
So I
So
feel like you're speaking to me.
Because I've learned that, because that's when I had that. Let me tell you, when I tell you, God have put
I say so, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. We in it. This is a good topic.
Finish strong. I just want to say, in this particular topic, that the one thing that we have to understand is that, and it's the hardest thing to accept, at least I know for me, is that we attract who we are. That is hard to accept, because if you've been in some broken relationships and you're like, I was like that, yes, in some way, form, or fashion, you were like that. And some particular trait, you were like that individual. So, because relationships are reflections of one another. For you to even be attracted to someone broken, why would you be attracted to someone broken? There's purpose behind it. But most of the time, as Queen A said, we don't look for that purpose. We don't understand that marriage is purposeful. We don't understand that. We feel like marriage is to fulfill the flesh, and that's it. And if it ain't fulfilling my flesh, I'm out of there. On to the next. Mm-hmm. And so, be it her or him, so either or. And so, things get bad, you move on. But we're going to talk about the marriage thing in just a minute. But I definitely want to say that, for those that are waiting, and for those that, you may see somebody and you're like, oh, yeah, this is the perfect one. And then he doesn't want you. That's a big statement. He doesn't want you. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if he doesn't want you, okay, move on to the next person that may find some interest in you, or check and see, look at your list, because if what you wanted did not want you, okay, is that what you want? Because that what you say you want don't want you. They don't like you.
Rejection is for your protection.
It is. Yes. So just look at that and say, you know what? Okay.
That's a good way to look at it.
Exactly. Obviously, there's a better, choice. There's a better model. There's a better option for me. So, and a lot of them, they take that and they really internalize, he doesn't want me, or whatever. Women go through a lot. And so don't want to, forget about men or neglect men, because they go through a lot too. But we know as women, Shafan, you can speak for the men, but we know as women goes through a lot. So you definitely want to be very mindful and being self-aware. One thing I've learned, becoming self-aware of who you are, your worth, your value, and then look at that individual. And sometimes you have to do a size up, just all by yourself. You have to look, okay, write down. That list is really beneficial. Write down all the advantages, write down all the disadvantages, write down the benefits, and write down the things that's not so beneficial. So, you can size up on your own. You don't really need someone to tell you, but on your own. And we do know, we cannot leave this out, especially more so when it comes to marriages. People that may be in marriages stay in marriages for all different reasons, especially, when there's family involved, children, they need the finances or whatever it may be. But definitely that's when if you're in that, and we don't promote, divorces or breakups or anything like that. But if you're in a toxic situation, abusive situation, get yourself together so that you can free yourself. Get yourself together. If you're staying in and hanging in there because I can't do it by myself, how am I going to take care of my family? Okay, so now you got to do what you got to do so that you can take care of your family. If you got to go to school and get a degree, if you got to, get a job, whatever you need to do, to take care of you and your children, do what you have to do, because in the long run, you will save yourself as well as your children, because it's not good across the board. So we want to put, because women tends to stay in a bad situation for the wrong reasons.
Men too, though, not just the
Yes.
women.
Yeah, that's true.
Men
That's true.
too.
Men, shall find address the men. It's in bad situations.
I agree. On both parts, everybody's tend to stay in these unhealthy and toxic relationships, and it do have to do a lot with trauma, childhood trauma and things that
Yeah.
you've been through in life, and you have to get to a point where you acknowledge that this is not help. Actually, I was just telling somebody the other day that the other ethnic groups, white people, yada, yada, they don't go through so much drama as Black people. I feel like, they handle each other a little bit more calmly. They speak a little bit more calmly. Black people is so raw, and West Indians, they're like rah 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 rah, they're quick to attack.
Yeah.
And we have to stop dealing with each other like that. We have to learn how to communicate. And I think communication is the biggest factor. But yes, in a nutshell, yeah, you have to acknowledge if a relationship is toxic. It's hard to get out of, but you definitely have to say, you know what, this isn't, beneficial for me, and it's not worth it, and I have to leave the relationship. And a lot of females I find, talking to my female friends or male friends, they tend to put so much importance of sex. Sex to me is minimum. Everything else comes before.
What? It's what?
It's not minimum, but yeah, a person can't beat on you or just be, just a shitty person,
Right.
and you stick around because the sex is good. Right. Like I had a female I took her to, and I said, sex isn't all of that. The sex could be good, but you could get sex from anybody. Move on.
I'm trying to high five. Right, exactly. You're absolutely right, Shafan. And I have a great testimony I want to share. I'll share it with my when I finish my book. I'm writing a book, Headless Marriage. How people, go into marriages strictly with their heart and not using, their logic as well. Because especially even more so nowadays, you have to have that balance when you go off into a marriage. And believe it or not, Serious K, when you mentioned that it's not all about when you talked about age, because it's the pivotal thing about the age thing. When we look at the time, we don't have a lot of time. Women just get all crazy and nervous. We don't have a lot of time, but you begin to incorporate logic into your choices. It ain't all about that outer appearance, because guess what? All about outer appearance is gonna fade away. But it's about what that person can bring internally, what that person can bring, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. How when we feel the vibes when I'm around him, what kind of vibes am I getting? So I got a great huge testimony. The book it's gonna break everything down. I'm definitely gonna share a lot of my experience, as well as other people that have given permission to share their experiences, to really break it down. I know a lot of people, they love talking about relationship, career, and money. Relationship, career, and money. So if anybody can find information or something that's good about relationship, because so many people want it, yet so many people struggle, and there's so many broken relationships, but there's more people that want love and want to know how to find love, and want to know, well, how do you know when this is it? Or how do you know when this is the one? Just when you walk out of a toxic situation, you'll run right into God's divine plan for your life. And it just might include that one that you've been wanting for the whole time. So definitely look forward to that.
Coach Yolanda, when you said that, when you mentioned, because Shafine said this too in the beginning, you walk into, like, you may walk into that person, like you get rid of one toxic situation, and you meet someone, or you establish a relationship, and you may think at first that person is not for you because you're still healing.
Right.
And then remember, I said also, where when you get into a relationship with somebody else, you still have another level of healing, because now you got to heal with learn how to work with the person. So that's another type of level of intimacy and healing. Yeah. So sometimes a person may seem like is not for you when it may be. So again, you got to identify how, what are you left with at the end of the day, after the phone conversation, after hanging out with them, what are you left with? How do you feel after leaving that? So that's a big indication.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this has been such a great, great topic. We can even share more on this, but I do want to talk a little bit about our our last topic because it seemed like it just coincides, like you just flow right into the
Yes.
next topic. And this is talking about life after marriage. What is life like after you have said those I do? What is that truth? Let's dispel all those myths of, oh, you sign a death certificate, oh, you know, your life is going to be miserable. Oh, you won't be able to do this or that. Let's dispel that. And for the record, we're going to share information on what it's like for a healthy marriage as well as a toxic one. But what it's like for a healthy, and we're going to let Sirius K talk about that a little bit, about what is life after marriage. And a good, healthy marriage. Once you have said those ideas, and all are going along the way. And be Serious Case, share those moments where there are some moments where it's like, no, we don't agree on everything, but like I don't say that's it, I'm out the door. So share some of your experience.
Well, yeah, those myths about, you know, the number one that I used to hear all the time. Oh man, it's gonna change when you get married. It ain't gonna be no more going this place, doing that. Ain't gonna be no more sex and ain't gonna be no more this or that. But let me tell you, when you look at marriage from a biblical standpoint, it only gets better.
Yes.
It gets better. So you get your plate taken to you. It just depends. I mean, on how you view marriage. I'm just saying. You get your clothes washed. You get meals cooked. You get sex when you want it. And you get a best friend. And if you really love that person, you ain't gonna mind spending time with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what everybody else is saying don't even matter. Now there are gonna be some times where you're not gonna disagree. You're not gonna agree. So that's when you come together and you compromise. And like the word says, you don't go to bed angry at each other. You don't do that. You find a way to talk through it, to push through it, so that you guys can come to like I say, you can compromise, you can come to a better understanding about it. And it's not gonna always go your way. Sometimes it'll go the other person's way. Sometimes you got to take a L, but it's okay. But it's still for the betterment of your marriage. So all I want to say is that marriage just gets better if you marry the right person and you both take your vows seriously and you really want the marriage to work. It'll work when you put in the work. And a good marriage, you don't have to do a lot of work. It just works. And I'm just being honest. It just works. My marriage is not perfect, but it works because we understand each other and we know each other. He lets me be me and I let him be him. I don't try to change him. I don't try to say, hey, this is who I want you to be. This is how I want you to talk. This is what I want you to wear. Stop eating like that. Stop doing this and that like that. I look at him and I be like, oh, look at my man. Look at him slurping that spaghetti. God,
the spaghetti you made too, right? The spaghetti you made.
For who he is, because I'm not perfect either. You know what I'm saying? So when you take this person and you say, okay, this is my for better or my for worse, that's what you do. You take them for better or for worse. Yes. And marriage only gets better. I'm just telling you, we've been married almost 8 years, and people always say, girl, y'all act like newlyweds, because we're always together. We always want to be together, and it only gets better. So all those myths and stuff, that's just people that just, I guess, I mean, I don't know what kind of marriage they in or what type of person that they married.
I'll tell you in a few minutes, Serious K. Is it my go? So, maybe you want to say something about it, or you're like, hey,
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think marriage is just what you make it. I met someone the other day. I just dating, and one thing he said to me was, when you be with the person every single day, it becomes boring. I'm like, what? So that's not true at all. It's what you make it. So I did have beliefs, because at one point in my life, I did have commitment issues. I was afraid of commitment, not anymore. I did the work, but so I understand the myths that people put on, about relationships. And it's just how you perceive things. Is what you say to yourself, is what you put in your head. And it's not, you got to ask yourself, is this valid? What I'm saying, is this true? Because sometimes you judge it from your experience, not from the future self, not what's going to happen, in the future. Again, is what you make it. Anything in life is what you make it, and how you perceive it, how you believe it to be. That's how it's going to be. So,
like the older people say, you got to watch your battles. I mean, everything does not deserve an answer or a comeback. Some stuff you just be like, you know what, whatever, and move on. It's just not, it just not deserve an answer. Sometimes that's how we create arguments. Every time somebody say something that sounds like we don't like it, we got to have a comeback. We got to say something. Some stuff is worth letting go because it ain't worth fighting about, and it ain't worth losing your marriage.
That's right.
Don't waste it. Know when it's time not to. When you putting too much energy. Like sometimes some stuff don't deserve energy for it. Like, okay, just let it go. It's just not even that serious. We make minor stuff into major stuff, and it destroys the relationship, friendship, marriage, whatever.
Yeah. Shafan, what were
he was thinking hard. He was quiet.
Look, I'm so pro marriage. Like, I'm really a commitment type of person, and I envision myself married, at some point. And I do believe that you have to be careful with who you decide to make that commitment with for it to be a successful marriage. Like, I have a vision to. I think a big part of relationships is friendships. You should be friends with and a lot of people forget that. Like, they're just with somebody and they don't have no friendship. They're just a couple. So they have all these fights and all these disagreements. But when you're friends, y'all understand each other. Y'all not bent out of shape about everything the person does, because that's the person that's the person you're dealing with. That person weighs. So I do believe that that's a big part of a commitment in marrying somebody. You want to marry your best friend per se.
Yeah.
I do have a question, Kim. Like, do you? Because I feel like I would have a moment where, like, I need a break. Like, do you ever have that moment where you're like, okay, I need like a girls' night out or a trip by myself? Like, I feel like I would have those moments.
The time that I feel that is if, like, he leave the drawers open, like the door cabinet. Like, you know what? I'm about to see. I'm about to leave here. If he leave one more cabinet door open. Other than that, that's the only time. But he's my travel buddy. So every now and then I feel like I want to get away, and most of the time it's not from him, it's from work and from school. It's from my duties, from the stuff that I'm like, oh my God, I just feel like I just want to get away, but not from him, because like you said, first of all, he's my best friend. We started out as friends first, because I didn't see it. I didn't see I want to marry him one day, he gonna be my husband. I didn't see him as that. So we had such a great start and such a good connection. He was different than every man that I ever met. He was totally different, his conversation and everything, and he was truly genuine. So we started out as friends first. And so even like if I feel like I'm getting mad at him, I can only be mad at him for about a minute. And then I forget and I'm starting back talking to him. Then I'm mad at myself for talking to him because I'm not mad no more. I'm like, I'm supposed to be mad. I'm talking to him, but I can't help it because he's my friend and we talk about everything.
Yes.
So no, I just go in the room and lay down. And as far as social time, because I'm a hairstylist, I have social time every day. I'm talking to ladies every day. So, and I do have friends that like to do, ladies night, go have dinner, and I'll go have dinner with them. But the whole time I'm there, I'm not gonna lie, I want to go home. I'm like, I'm ready to go home. But I enjoy the time with them because we can talk about things that I can't talk about with him, or things that maybe, they don't want him to hear, or, we can't be around the men to talk about certain things. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to say real quick, because I know we've run out of time, but real quick, as far as life after marriage, I've been in, just recently got out of a horrific.
Okay.
Let that be put on the record. Horrific marriage. And horrific in every way that you can think of. And I think that, and a lot of components were missing. A lot of components were missing when you talk about how our marriage came together and how how it lasted the length of time that it did. The components were all over the place. It's like putting a little crib together, and you got the leg where the little bassinet's supposed the little, and you got the wheel in case you want to push the crib. It's at the top. I'm telling you, it was all wrong. So I would say that friendship is definitely a great way to start off.
Yes.
In a marriage. And the one thing that I will say is that ongoing counseling, maybe once a month or once a quarter, just to kind of give yourselves a refresher. They have these huge conferences, XO marriage conference. They have all kind of marriage conferences, retreats that I think couples, it's almost like a requirement. You should definitely go. And it's like a rejuvenation of your marriage, because sometimes it does get a little stale, or it gets a little like
you gotta spice it up.
Let's try something different, and it's okay because we're human, so nothing is going to be perfect. And and I would say those myths come from bad marriages. Like, I can testify to every myth. Death certificate, yeah, I was almost there. Can't do nothing, locked up, jail time, prison, whatever those myths are. Those myths are created through bad marriages. And so I can testify to those myths. Yeah, there's some truth to it if you're in a bad marriage. That's why. But marriage is not meant to be bad. It's instituted by God. God is not going to institute, something that is not for our good. So it's ordained, it's instituted by God, it's a covenant. So I feel like when it does go left, south, whatever, somebody has stepped away from the love of God. Someone has stepped away, and they need to find their way back. And if they don't find their way back, then of course it's going to go left and it's going to dissolve. So that's our thing on life after marriage. But
I just have one comment, mostly, really quick. I don't know if you could attest to this, serious case. So I find that a lot of people tend to get comfortable in marriage or relationship more so. And I think you have to keep still like, do y'all still like go on dates? Like, I think some people been married for so long and stop going on dates, they stop having fun. And it's kind of like, okay, we're just paying the bills, So I think it's important to don't forget to do what you was doing to get the person that you're with. Like, some people get comfortable and stop taking their girl or their wife out on dates. They're like, oh, we can just eat it. And no, sometimes just say, let's dress up, let's go out. I think that's really important.
We still date. Actually, like, Sunday is our day. Sunday is our day to do whatever we want to do. Just, we cut off the phones and it's just me and him. And sometimes he take me out on a date, and guess what? Sometimes I take him out. I'm like, maybe I'm gonna take you to brunch this time. You took me to brunch last time. So we make sure that we still date.
Yeah,
we still date.
It's
important. Y'all, I'm going to be leaving. I just
want to love you. Have fun.
Thank you. All right, good night, y'all.
All right,
good night.
Good night, audience. Love you all. Bye-bye.
So this has been a great show. We had some really good, heavy topics, sharing some really good information. We definitely want to continue these conversations because they're so, so, so healthy to the mind, heart, and body. I mean, just to everything, your soul and your spirit, your emotions, your psyche. It is good to have healthy conversations to deal with life situations. So thank you so much, special co-host, special guest co-host.
Yes,
we love you. We want you to come back for the finale, which will be October 30th. Make sure you come back for the finale.
Oh yes, I'll be there.
For your best costume.
My best costume. I'm gonna be in latex.
Oh, wait a minute. You're gonna be Kim Kardashian in black.
Maybe we can have a thing with the viewers. That would be cool. Certain outfits, and they can choose an outfit to wear.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's something we definitely can discuss. Well, we love you, fam. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, YouTube, Facebook. We shall see you next week. Good night.